Natalia really needs some answers. Michael, he needs to put this to rest.
A documentary about Natalia Grace's life just came out, and it revealed some shocking things. It turns out that her parents were the twisted villains all along.
You're supposed to be my dad. You're supposed to be the one to protect me.
But what exactly happened? And why are people now turning against Natalia's new adoptive parents, too? The story of Natalia Grace is heartbreaking. Natalia was harmed as a child just because her adoptive parent, Michael and Christine Barnett, didn't believe that she was actually a child. Natalia has a form of dwarfism. This means that, at first glance, it can be difficult to accurately guess her age. And Michael and Christine accused her of actually secretly being an adult woman trying to harm them. They were cruel to her. Natalia was only about 9 years old when she was adopted by Michael and Christine, but they treated her as this manipulative and dangerous adult, and they eventually even left her to fend for herself. We now know that they were wrong, though, because the new documentary titled The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, Natalia Speaks, revealed some shocking details. Natalia had a blood test done. The test was conducted by a medical lab called True Diagnostic, and True Diagnostic confirmed that at the time of the test in August 2023, Natalia was around 20 years old, which means that when Michael and Christine moved away and left her alone in an apartment to take care of herself, she was only about 10 years old. They claimed that she was an adult woman, but the blood test now confirmed that she wasn't. What's also shocking is that Michael and Christine actually knew this because supposedly they took Natalia to a dentist in 2011. And the dentist, named Timothy Gosweiler, guessed that Natalia was between 6 to 9 years old. So it's not like Michael and Christine had no idea that Natalia was a child. They knew all along, but they just didn't believe it. Or they had some other kind of reason to treat her so horribly. I mean, what kind of person leaves a small child behind? Natalia was nowhere near old enough to take care of herself. But Michael and Christine still moved to Canada in 2013. They took their 3 sons with them, but they didn't take Natalia. They just left her behind. Luckily, Natalia was eventually able to get help. Another couple, Antoine and Cynthia Mans, took her in that same year. They were actually able to legally adopt her last year in June 2023. This was supposed to be a happy moment for the family, but then something really disturbing happened. About 6 months after the adoption, the network that produced The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, Natalia Speaks, received a shocking phone call. Antoine and Cynthia called them, and what they had to say left everyone speechless. This phone call was made only about 2 weeks before the documentary was supposed to come out. Jason Sarlanis, the president of Investigation Discovery, said that the network was completely shocked by what they were told. The documentary was finished, and everyone thought that Natalia got her happy ending. But then Antoine and Cynthia basically said that they were done with Natalia. They called the network, and Antoine claimed that there was something wrong with Natalia. He said that she was tweaking. Apparently, the couple felt like she was the enemy in the house, and they alleged that she claimed that they'd held her hostage. Cynthia also said that Natalia was stabbing her family in the back over a complete lie. According to the couple, Natalia had done some other things too, but this was a new low. Antoine said that she didn't have emotions for anything but herself. They finished the phone call by saying that they were done with her. The production company put this phone call at the very end of the documentary. And then, a title card announced that Natalia's story would continue. It looks like there might be more to the story than we all thought. Jason Sarlanis said that with Natalia's story, nothing is ever what it seems. But I can't help but wonder, what does it all mean? Why did Antoine and Cynthia make that phone call? What happened between them and Natalia? And where is Natalia now? The one thing that's kind of comforting about all this is that it seems like Natalia is safe. She's been posting on her Instagram ever since the documentary dropped, and in one of her posts, she thanked everyone for their support and prayers. She said that she was okay and doing well. She told her followers that she wished she could tell them more about the show, but apparently she'd signed an agreement to keep things confidential for now. So she couldn't really say much else, but she promised that she would let us know more when she could. She then repeated that she was okay, and she also added 2 hashtags at the very end of her post. These were #safe and #livingmybestlife. So it seems like she's fine for the time being, but I still have so many questions. Is she not on speaking terms with Antoine and Cynthia anymore? Or was the recent phone call just a massive misunderstanding? I just can't imagine why the couple would say all those things about Natalia. She's been through so much with her previous adoptive parents, Michael and Christine. Why would anyone want to make that worse for her? One of the reasons Michael and Christine thought that she was an adult was because she didn't have an official birth certificate. Natalia is Ukrainian, but she doesn't have a Ukrainian birth certificate. This is because there was reportedly a sewer incident at the hospital where she was born, and her adoption records got lost in the process, so there was no official confirmation of her age, which was one of the reasons why Michael and Christine were able to question her age. Obviously, we now know that this was all completely misguided. The blood test confirmed that Natalia was just a child when Michael and Christine adopted her. But does that mean that their other accusations were wrong too? Michael and Christine claimed that Natalia was dangerous. Allegedly, she would try to harm them and their biological kids. They said that she even tried to spike Christine's coffee at one point and harm her with an electric fence. It's hard to say if any of this has actually happened, but with the way Michael and Christine ignored the dentist's age estimation and with how they abandoned Natalia when they moved to Canada, I'm just not sure that we can trust their claims. Then again, Antoine and Cynthia now seem to have an issue with Natalia too. We don't have many details about this. What kind of issues do they have? Antoine said that Natalia didn't have emotions for anything but herself. But what does that mean? What would make him say this? Obviously, at this stage, all we can really do is speculate. But I honestly think that there might be a pretty simple explanation for what happened at the end of the documentary. One theory that I've seen people bring up online is that the ending was mostly done for views. The network wanted to keep us all invested in the story, which is why they added that phone call at the end and made it seem so dramatic. In reality, it might not be quite as dramatic as it sounded. Maybe it was just edited in a way that made it sound like Antoine and Cynthia turned their backs on Natalia. Obviously, if that's the case, then that's pretty manipulative and horrible from the production. Natalia has been through so much already, and the last thing she needs is more drama in her life. Which leads me to my other theory. I honestly think that maybe Natalia is just really traumatized from everything that happened to her. If she has some kind of issues with her emotions, then that's perfectly understandable. She was mistreated as a small child, and that kind of thing can leave a lasting impact on a person. It's sad if Antoine and Cynthia turn their backs on her because of this. It's not Natalia's fault that she went through so much pain. But to be fair, there is still a lot that we don't know, so who knows what the full story is. At this point, I really just feel bad for Natalia. She was just a small child who was treated horribly by those who were supposed to protect her. No child should have to go through what she went through. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Did you watch the documentary? What are your thoughts on Natalia's story? And what did you make of the crazy phone call right at the end? Let me know in the comments below.